Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing good. I just did a live stream and the whole thing got deleted. The first time I tried to do this, it didn't record my voice. So now I'm here to do this for the third time. I'm going to make it quicker because I've already said this a bunch of times and I don't want to do it anymore. So today in PTSD therapy, we talked about intrusive thoughts, avoidance patterns, negative feelings, and hyper awareness. We talked about like the dramatic hero, like talking about your dramatic story from your perspective. We learned the difference between manufactured feelings and natural feelings, and we talked about yeah, that's mostly it. So for intrusive thoughts, Simon, yeah, dude, the whole video that we just did didn't fucking save, so I'm doing it again. So yeah, intrusive thoughts, I mean, everyone has intrusive thoughts, but they come from, like, they stem from when you have negative emotions or you're going against something, like, deep inside yourself, and it boils up as intrusive thoughts. So, say, for instance, you don't want to go to school, but you have to go to school anyway, so your thoughts can be like, man, fuck school. You're going to get that a lot. I used to get intrusive thoughts all the time. Some of self-harm. I used to get some of just anger, lashing out, fighting, all types of stuff. And that's intrusive thoughts. And the only way to really stop that is to align better with whatever you need to do. So, like, if you are against going to school, then you need to figure out either how to make school something you want to obtain, like to go to, or you need to figure out something else that you want. Because you're gonna continue to have intrusive thoughts. I mean, you have to make a deal with yourself pretty much, because you're doing something that you don't want to do, pretty much. Avoidance patterns. So avoidance, that's something that a lot of people with PTSD deal with. There's plenty of things that we start avoiding once we have gone through the trauma. So, like, for instance, like, I avoid crowds. I tend to avoid sitting with my back to people. I don't like people walking behind me. I avoid yelling, like other people arguing. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, so those are avoidance patterns. There's plenty of them, and we're going to talk more about that next session. But identifying what avoidance patterns you have is really important for healing them, because those things that you're avoiding is actually probably what you need to do so that you can feel safe again. Like, you need to conquer your fear of that. Sometimes, like, if you're not in a safe environment, then, like, those things are important for you. But if you are in a safe environment, you've survived the trauma, you need to let go of those patterns. When it comes to negative thoughts instead of self-talk, it's just really important. Like, for me, I used to have really bad negative self-talk, like, real bad. I used to just tear myself apart in my head. And I realized that having negative self-talk is so useless. It's a useless skill. If you're doing it, you're doing it wrong, okay? I'm telling you this right now. Look at me. If you're talking to yourself and you're bullying yourself, you're doing it wrong. You have a brain. That brain is there to help you in all things. Sorry, my cats are, like, fucking meowing. Your brain is there to help you with all things. If it's calling you bad names, you need to tell it to shut the fuck up, alright? You're my friend, alright? We gotta be friends. We don't talk to each other that way. We gotta be best buds. And so you need to adapt a personality, a mind personality that is helpful and that complies with you, like, actually wants to be your friend. So what can help with that, for instance, like, I feel like our brain will take on whoever has, like we'll take on a persona of whoever in our life has the most authority. So for me, for the longest time, it was like my dad, but it was like more than my dad. It was like my dad plus the military plus a bunch of other stuff. So, like, that's the kind of persona that my mind took. It was the highest, like, masculine, like encounter, I guess, or energy or authority, like, perception that I could muster. And I realized that that highest authority was telling me what to do, like, just mean. Like, it was just mean. Because I had mean experiences with them. Military, they yell at you. My dad, he yelled at me. And he also did all types of other stuff. So it's just, like, one of those things where it took me a really long time to realize that, like, I've adopted them into my head. Like, they're literally living in my head. And the only way to get them out is to replace them with someone else that has more authority than them. And I had to make myself that person. Or, I mean, some people make that Jesus. Some people make that God. Some people make that whatever. Like a communication with a higher power that you actually care about, and that's not a tyrant. It's really tough. For people that don't have a religious background, it can be really tough. Even with people with religious backgrounds, their God can be tainted with tyrannical ideas. It's very possible. And so it's just one of those things where you have to realize that you have to change the way you talk to yourself, and you have to make a mental agreement that, like, yo, I'm gonna be pulling myself up, I'm lifting myself up. How can I get to my goals? How can I do that? You have to turn your mindset around, and once you turn it around, never let it go back, because your brain needs to be your friend. You always need to be in the same page as the inside of you. That's why you don't lie. That's why you have integrity, because when you have integrity, it's a lot easier to be whole. But when you're lying and you're against your own brain, you're getting all that intrusive thoughts and all types of negative feelings and thoughts. Like, that's you fighting the internal battle, and that's not good. And that's how you get cancer. So, the difference between manufactured emotions and natural emotions. So, for instance, if you were grieving, say a friend, let's say I'm grieving, my friend passed, and I'm dealing with the grief, the sadness. This is what I would be feeling a lot of. Sadness and like loss. As I think about the story of like how my friend passed, I think about things and I'm like, hey, like maybe there are things I could have done better. Maybe there are things that like I could have changed. Maybe I should have listened more. Like those shoulda, coulda, wouldas, those regrets, and I start to feel shame. Like, oh well, now I'm like that guy or this and that. Like those extra feelings, those are manufactured feelings. They're not what really happened. Like, they're not the true pain of loss anymore. It's your process is generating your process of thinking about the grief is actually creating manufactured emotions, and those manufactured emotions, depending on the way that you tell that story to yourself, can actually wind up being more toxic than the actual event. And unless you're highly like emotionally intelligent, like it's really hard to explain to other people like why you're feeling that way, because your emotional process is your own. And unless, like I said, you're doing some big brain things and you understand that, like, yo, your thinking process, and you can explain that to other people, most people won't understand why you feel the shame, guilt, and regrets that come from that manufactured place. Now they can try to guess and empathize, but unless you really share with them your thinking process, then they won't really understand like why you feel that way. Yeah, self talk is just so important. And again, this actually talking about the manufactured feelings. Like if you have a positive self talk, you will have less manufactured negative emotions, and that's really powerful. These things are truly able to hold you back in many ways, and the quickest way to subvert its power is by having a positive self-talk. So it means you got to force yourself to be a friend, because you are the only one you have in your corner. You might as well be your friend. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. My first video was definitely a lot longer, but I really wanted to document my progress. This is really important for me to document this progress. So I love you much, and it'll be on YouTube, and it'll be on Joel Pays Attention, and it'll be on Dupe's Closet as well, and I'll be saving it as a series on here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for showing me love. Thanks for coming back again, Lord Simon. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.